All right, guys, we have a treat today. I have known Christy since probably before we launched. We have been in some chats and whatnot. And listen, she is a powerhouse. She's super smart. She knows all the tech stuff, but she's got a grasp of this business. So I'm not going to talk a lot. I want to give her all the time she needs. This is going to be fire. I know it is. So get out your pens, your paper, get your screenshots ready, whatever you need to do, because she has worked on this so hard and it is thorough. It's very thorough. This is not your average little onboarding. Hey, here's a few little things you can do. Here's your little checklist. No, this is what you need to do. And if you will follow what Christy is doing, because this is working for her. This is working for her team and her team is growing. So write it all down, get it all down. I'm sure she's going to give us screenshots and everything. So, but get your pens and paper out because this is it, guys. All right, Christy, go for it.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. So first off, if you guys just want to pay attention, I really don't think that you're going to have to take notes. That's how thorough this is. So, gosh, I don't even know where to start. This is what has been happening probably over the last 8 months in our roots, maybe even almost a year now. And what we've been trying to do is just take what's been working, but slowly perfecting it over time. And it's gotten to a point where myself and a couple of the girls in my roots, we feel like broken records because we're constantly repeating ourselves over and over and over again. But most importantly, it's like even myself, who's trained like this probably a total of 50 times, maybe even more, I forget things. You know, even when it comes down to telling somebody, this is the referral link that you use if you bring on a new ambassador, and this is the referral link that you use to save somebody $10. Like, there are so many different moving pieces and parts when it comes to MIG. It's hard to remember it all. So this originally started out as just a simple checklist, and it's literally turned into like a complete Cliff Notes version of onboarding. And I'll tell you, there are so many different ways I could have went with it, but I went with what's working. So let me just show you the first page. I'm going to pull it up on the screen, but I want you to know something. There's a lot of content. Okay. So this is just even the first page. If you're somebody who gets overwhelmed very easily, print your checklist and go like this. Once you get done with step 1, you go to step 2, so on and so forth. This is not meant to make anyone feel overwhelmed. It's literally meant to just be able to go step by step. Now, one thing I can tell you is the way that I built it out, it goes sponsor, ambassador, and I did it all on one page. And I did that for a reason. I thought about doing them separately, one checklist with ambassador and one with sponsor, but a lot of the steps can be done simultaneously. And I want your new ambassador to know what you're doing while they're doing what they're supposed to be doing so that you guys can work together. Like, this is most definitely
You're muted right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here is our checklist. And for those of you who are not in the Believers and the Believers Mock Party group, I will give you access. I will also give you access to this Canva graphic so that you can just go in and change the chat names or the group names. That way, if you guys decide to take the documents and store them somewhere else, you can just guide your teams to that one spot and just edit a couple things through the steps. So I will give you that. But This is, I don't even know where to start, you guys, because I can talk forever on this. First step, you want to invite people into your team chat. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard people say, oh, well, those chats are too chatty and I don't want to overwhelm people. You guys, I can't tell you how beneficial it is to get people plugged in right away, because they learn so much right off the bat. Even if it's, hey, I'm having an issue with this order, what do I do? Email hello@migliving.com. You have no idea how much value those chats bring to people just by them seeing the questions that other people are asking. So although you might think that your new ambassador is going to get completely overwhelmed and you want to hide them from all the things, I'm telling you, the best thing that you can do is get them plugged into everything. So this basically just goes through the steps. And what you want to do is you want to have a three-way chat from day one with you, your new ambassador, and your sponsor. And what this checklist does, and I'm just going to slowly scroll through it, is it walks someone down the money trail. Every single step walks them towards seeing the money. Now, I eventually got to certain points where I had to one-off and create new trainings. So this actually, I'll go back for a sec, leads you towards a masterclass that we built out. It's actually a launch event / masterclass that we built out, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 months ago, and we've slowly perfected it over time. And sorry about all the typos and stuff like that. I still have to go through this and check to make sure the grammar and the typos are good. But this event that we built out includes a masterclass. It has been completely digitized, okay? So you guys, you can go to, and like I said, you guys can all have access to this group. I am more than happy to share. This is our Believers Mock Party group. And at the top of this mock party is a checklist. It's right here. It's under features. You guys, this is the event. This is the checklist. All you do is print out your checklist. See everything on the right-hand side, how it says Visly. You guys, we already plugged this event into an app called Visly. Visly is, you can throw one party a month for free, or you can do multiple parties. It's like super cheap. I think it's like $12 a month. And you got to remember that's a tax write-off. But what you do is you literally connect Visly to a Facebook group and it runs your party for you. The template is already placed into Visly. We've already built it out. And all you have to do is, there are 5 steps, and I have this in the launch party too. Hold on one sec. Let me find it here. Everything is in order by guides. The entire event is in order by guides. So if you're overwhelmed and thinking, oh my gosh, I have to learn how to use this Visly app, I've literally built it out in 5 steps. 5 steps to setting up an event. It's all here. Every single thing that you could possibly run into. 5 simple steps to connect Visly. Here's the template number. To connect Visly to your Facebook group. Now, one downside to Visly is some of these posts are videos. For some reason, Visly will not transfer video links. Like, they don't post as videos for some reason. I don't know why. So I personally go in there and I schedule those posts manually in a group, because I just like them to look pretty. And I don't like when you post a link into an event and then the post goes up and all you see is the ugly link. Like, you don't see the beautiful video. So that is why on the checklist, I have made it so that some of them say schedule manually. So back to this checklist, or back to our actual launch party checklist, or I'm sorry, our training checklist. Okay, so let me give you guys another example here. And within that mock party, there is also a masterclass example in there that Ashley Delph did. You guys can do your master classes on whatever you want, whatever you think that your audience is going to be attracted to, you can do your master class on that. We've found that doing a master class on greenwashing and the no-nos on the front of a bottle seem to be the most mouth-dropping that, they draw people in. Like you literally say, oh, here's a bottle and this says no sulfates, no phthalates, no, whatever, no fragrance. But then when you turn the bottle around and you tell people what's on the back, it draws them in and then they're hooked into that masterclass and they want to learn all the things. So that is what we've found to be most effective. Ashley Delph does a fabulous job with that. And she has given me an example masterclass that they did. So that is also up in the mock party. You guys can check that out and you can mimic it, make it your own, whatever you want to do, but that is also there. So here's the thing. While you're getting ready to launch your ambassador with the event, you obviously want your ambassador to be posting on their public profile. And I'll tell you, most of the time they probably come to you and say, okay, what do I post? What should I do? What should I put up in my stories? What should I put up on my social media page? How should I lead people towards this event? So I veered off in many different ways. And I created a guide to launching your business on social media. So not only does this give your new ambassadors new posts that they can use to launch themselves publicly on social media, but it also teaches them how to take the post and make it their own so that we're not spamming out social media. Because I'll tell you, I was just talking to a leader at another company and he was like, what company are you with? And I said, MIG Living. And he said, wow, I've never heard of you guys before. And I'm like, good. Like, that's a good thing because that means that our girls are not spamming out social media with like all the same posts and they're doing things properly. So literally, you guys, here is, and what I did is I took 4 different posts and I showed the difference. This is literally the same post, but it's been posted by 2 different people. So they made it their own. So there's post 1, post 2, post 3, and post 4. Okay. Now I also know some people don't know how to work social media. So they don't even know possibly what Facebook or Instagram stories are. So here, if they use these QR codes, and I'm sure most of you guys know what QR codes are, but you just open up the camera on your phone and you take a photo of this and it will take you to trainings on how to create Facebook stories and Instagram stories. Super simple. Another thing that I feel like we've done so many events at this point. Liz Ann Wagner and I have probably ran 100 events, maybe even more. And I'll tell you, events can be extremely, extremely effective, or they can be a complete waste of time. An event is only going to work if you work it. And if you don't work it, it's not going to work. But one thing that I did do, and it's because I've ran this event over and over and over again, is I sat down and literally wrote down every single piece of advice, step to this mock party event so that you cannot go wrong. If you follow this checklist, It literally teaches your new ambassador how to tag properly. You know, I know the last couple launch events I've had, I'll say, go tag this person under this because they responded to the poll that they have issues with sleep. Go tag them to the sleep bomb post, or go tag them to the nootropic post, and they will just tag their name. So there's an art to tagging. When you tag someone, you tag them and then you say something afterwards. Like, hey, Christy, you know, tag me. I know you mentioned that you're having issues with sleep. This sleep balm will help you melt into your pillow, right? Because you know what's going to happen? Somebody's later going to see that, and it's going to be free advertisement for you if somebody else is scrolling through the post. Because I'll tell you, 90% of the people in those events don't interact. They're nosy. They're super nosy, and they're just scrolling through all the comments, and they just want to know what's going on, but they don't want you to know they want to know what's going on. So if you follow this checklist, this is literally every single piece of advice. This is my brain on paper of every single step through the entire event, all the way through day 5, that should effectively onboard someone through this event. And you guys, we've had people triple, quadruple rank on these events. They work. They work. You just have to know how to work them. So back to the checklist up in the beginning. Like I said, it walks someone down the money trail. Okay. So it's like, go out and get your first 2 subscribe and save customers of $50 or more. Once you get those 2 subscribe and save customers, obviously you can still work to get more customers, but you want to shift your focus on going out and getting 2 new ambassadors. And then while those customers are waiting for their products and you're working on getting those 2 first ambassadors so you can hit that 2x2 or that 4x4, you're going to wait for those customers to go get their products. And then once they do, you're going to reach out to them and say, hey, what did you think about those products? And when they give you positive feedback, I'm going to teach them how to host a post, right? So that they can go out, they can earn their MIG for free, and they're going to bring you new customers while they're hitting a bonus because you're helping them get their 2 ambassadors. So then I got into, okay, well, and I actually asked this in my chat the other day and somebody didn't know what host a post was. And I'm like, okay, now we got to do a training on host a post, right? So what I did is I did a guide to host a post. It's around here somewhere. Okay, so it literally walks everyone through the process from beginning to end of getting up that post, how to approach people, how the ambassador and the customer and the new ambassador work together. It even hones down on 3-way chats. Like, you guys, this is every single step, kindergarten style, like kindergarten style. It gets into ATM and how you need to, well, I feel like I'm all over the place. So, okay, how about we do this? After the event's over, it then guides people into how they're going to clean up their Facebook page, how they're going to brand themselves, how they're going to come up with their pillars. Sometimes we call them the 3 pillars. Sometimes we call them the JK5. They have a lot of different names. It's going to teach them how to get all of that cleaned up, how to figure out which way is the best way to recruit, because you guys know everybody has their own way of recruiting. You can't teach somebody, okay, you go out and send cold messages, because some people they don't feel comfortable with doing it. But if somebody's doing attraction marketing, you have to teach them the proper way to use attraction marketing, to not use MIG, to be mysterious, to drive people towards their inbox. You guys, it's all here, all of it. What I did, and just so that, I mean, because I'll tell you, my last girl who came on, she's like, okay, I'm done with my event. How should I recruit, or what should I do to recruit? So I gave her a couple of different options. And then she's like, okay, well, what do all those entail? And you're like, oh my goodness, I have to explain this every single time. Holy moly, like this is a lot of work. Like this is a lot of stuff to repeat over and over and over again. So what I did is I made a guide to recruiting. So you guys, it literally lists where to get your head, because you guys know 99% of recruiting is what's in your head. You have to have a particular mind space. You know, Elaine and I talk about this all the time. You have to have confidence. That's number one. So it gets into confidence, developing a mindset, telling good stories, keeping your why at the forefront. And then what I did is I listed all the different ways to recruit. And it even mentions that there isn't one way that's the right way. Sometimes you dabble here and sometimes you dabble there. And I'll tell you, even with my whole front line, I think every single one of them was recruited differently. You know, so maybe you start one way, and then when you feel comfortable, you get into the next way. And then when you start feeling a little more eager, you switch it up and you get into something else. But it goes from sending direct messages, and it guides them towards a flow chart, which is also available to you guys in Believers, on 5 steps to inviting somebody with a voice clip, inviting or recruiting. And you guys, it's amazing. It's amazing little guide that literally teaches you how to send a 1-minute voice clip to people. And it's personalized. It's not spammy. And honestly, if somebody sent it to me, I would listen and I would be like super, you know, I'd be really impressed by it. It gets into attraction marketing and how to market yourself properly and how to story sell. All these QR codes that you see are trainings. It talks about doing in-home gatherings, spa parties. This right here is an article that I found on throwing a gathering and tips on being successful in a home party. You guys, it's awesome. It talks about the 3-3-3 method, which is a method built out by Marina Simone. I know Elaine McGuire is extremely successful with 3-3-3. And then obviously in-person conversations, you know, take what we have here and what's going on in the world and help people. It's about other people. It's not about us. And with the way the economy is right now, we need to be out there giving people this opportunity because they need us just as much as we need them. So as far as the host to post goes, I'm going back to this now. I did do a example board on the bottom of 3 different ways to host a post. And, you know, you notice you can't see MIG anywhere. The logos are hidden. They're mysterious. I wanted to do, you know, a couple of different host to posts. And then it also gets into after your event and after you've cleaned up your Facebook page and you've learned how to master the art of posting and you've figured out your niche and how to brand yourself. It teaches you that you have 2 options at the very end, that you can take that event group where all of your people are inside and you can transition that into your own personal Facebook community. And it also, so for me, in my experience, you guys, and I've been saying this since day one, and I never planned on doing a Facebook community, but when we launched on day one, I was pooping my pants a little bit. Like we had no content aside from like 2 videos. We had no product spec sheets. We had nothing to work with. And I looked at Brian and, at that point, we didn't even know we were going to be selling supplements. And they were like, surprise, like, you're selling all these supplements now. And I remember looking at him and saying, how in the heck am I going to sell this stuff? And he's like, well, Christy, get on the phone and just talk to people. And I'm like, but I have nothing to point them towards. So I personally sat down and I built out a Facebook community. And I'll tell you, even over the last 2.5 years, I've learned so much about building that community. So what I did is I also tried to build this guide to ATM to show you that you have two different options at the end of your event to either turn that Facebook community into your own personal community, but how to execute it so that it's effective. Because, you guys, people don't just want to see MIG. They want you to bring value. They want to see recipes. They want to see do-it-yourselves. They want to be educated. They want healthy living tips. They want to know who's greenwashing. They want to know all the juicy gossip and drama and things that are going on. And if you bring all of that value to them, and then you slide the MIG in there, you will be surprised how much of an engine that will be for your business. And I will tell you that 95% of my business comes from my community. So what I did is I did the pros and cons pretty much, or just the benefits of either creating your own Facebook community or using Discover Good Living as an ATM. And what I did is I tried to just think of the pros, the benefits of each. That way we're always giving people options, because you don't want to ever drive somebody one way. Everybody's got different personalities. Everybody's got different schedules, different time on their hands, so on and so forth. So after they decide how to do that, the end of the checklist, and you guys, the checklist is also very detailed too. And I'm sure you guys saw my advertisement. This is eventually going to go digital. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a website that has 20 different avenues. Depending on where that person wants to go, that's where it's going to guide them. It's going to be on brand. It's going to be free to anyone who wants to use it. But at the very end of the checklist, where am I going here? Sorry, I hope I'm not making you guys busy or dizzy. I created a little quiz. And this is going to be up to the sponsor. I think what I'm going to do is maybe gift my new ambassador with, I don't know, a Starbucks coffee or just something fun to get them to finish the quiz and become a certified believer. And what I tried to do is think of questions for that new ambassador that may not be a part of this training, but it might be something that they might learn through their steps. And remember, this checklist is something that's going to be, I guess for now, thrown into that three-way chat that you start in the very beginning. And you're just going to walk that person through every single step. You guys are going to go back and forth one-on-one until you get through the entire checklist. So at the very, very end, and actually really quick, you guys, I'm sorry, I keep scrolling so crazy. You guys are probably, your heads are probably spinning. Look how cute this little thing is. I need to give Kathy Pete Gardner some props, because at the end of our checklist, she gave me a little quote. Look how cute that is. What you are today depends largely on what you did yesterday. Isn't that cute? Oh, and I just lost an earbud. Okay. So here's our quiz. And I tried to be very strategic with my answers, or with my questions. So some of them are simple, some of them are not. So it says, what do you have to do to be considered active for the month? What RSV Personal retail sales volume do you need to reach in order to hit tier 1 of power seller? I had them go fishing a little bit. So because one part of this training is that they take the MIG trainings and that they navigate through their back office. So I had them go look up this video. What's the secret ingredient that Jamie talks about in her video? Go find the product sheet on Muscle Bomb. What should someone do if they apply too much? I feel like that's like a question that everyone should know like right away. What's the bonus amount that you'll receive if your ambassador or business partner purchase a $9.99 launch pack? I figured that is huge. That the launch pack sales are so important. And I feel like you need to know that your ambassador knows what kind of money is involved if they sell a launch pack, and also how beneficial it is. And that's also up in the checklist, but how beneficial it is for your new ambassador to get started off on the right foot. So I wanted to make sure that was in there. How many customer perks programs do we offer? Most people don't even know about MIG for free because all we're talking about is give 10, get 10. So I wanted to put that in there. What rank are you gifted with a beautiful necklace? That's always an incentive, right? To be an anchor. At what rank are you eligible to earn that generation mentor bonus? Obviously Maverick. At what is the percentage of customers who return for more? 72% customer return rate. How long is our money back guarantee? Can an ambassador earn free product credits? I feel like that's big too. In order to hit your first rank, how many active ambassadors must you have on your front line? What email address should be used if you need to contact the happiness team? And then go into your back office, look up your very first customer and what was the total of their first order. And I wanted to do that because so many times people don't know when you go into your back office, that tiny little man icon on the left-hand side, that you can actually open up your customer's profile and look at all the things that they're doing inside. I feel like that's huge. So after this is all done and they take the quiz, it's literally just a matter of sitting down with your new ambassador and coming up with a daily checklist, a DMO, a way for them to work their business on a daily basis, something that works for them. So what I did there, where is it? Okay, see here right at the bottom, it says, now that you're a certified believer, work with your sponsor to come up with a list of action steps you can perform daily. Figure out what works for you, add it into your daily routine, and stay consistent. Consistency is key. So as long as you stay consistent, you will see the fruits of your labor. And what I did is I just tried to give as many suggestions when it comes to action steps. You guys, when I was in pre-launch, I did all of these every day, Monday through Friday. It was a lot. It was way too much. I would never suggest it now at this point, unless you're ready to just roll. And actually it was always 11 messages a day for me. I always started 11 conversations. I don't know why, but that was like my number. But that's pretty much where it ends, is just getting someone to stay consistent in a DMO. And I feel like once they get to this part of the checklist, and you guys, the checklist is 3 pages, they should be ready to run. I mean, run. It is so detailed, step by step by step. It'll literally say, like, for example, there are many different ways to recruit and everyone prefers or preferences are different. We want you to feel confident. Go check out the guide to recruiting, and it's back and forth between the ambassador and the sponsor. And, I'll tell you, I know some of you just want to plug your new ambassador somewhere, and eventually we'll get there. But even when we go digital, I cannot stress enough. We're not just selling one product. We don't just have one program. You have to sponsor. You have to hold your new ambassador's hand for at least the first 10 days. I can't tell you how much somebody appreciates that too. My last girl was crying to me because she's never had someone help her so much. But I'll tell you, you invest those 10 days, and it could be 5 days. She might be ready to run, and she might want to get her launch event and everything going within her first 2 days. And some people might already know half this stuff. So you might just breeze through this checklist with no problem. But I'll tell you, you sponsor your people and you get them started off on the right foot. And I promise you, it will work. I promise. So I know you guys want to do a Q&A next week. Does anybody want to ask any questions now? Or would you guys rather me send this or post this somewhere? You can go through it on your own. I like I said, I do have to proofread. And then we can just meet back up next week. What do you guys want to do?
I think if anybody has any questions that are just immediate, go ahead and ask them right now. Unmute yourself and ask them. And then as you look this stuff over, Christy's going to be back this same time next week, and she'll have all the answers for you of things that you may not have thought of today.
Okay, let's see here. I'll just run through the chat. And you guys, I'm so sorry I was scrolling all over the place. It really is in order. It's all in order. Yeah, Julie just said, I love walking down the money trail. You guys, people see the money. That's why they're here. They're here to make money, plain and simple. You know, I was here for the sisterhood in the beginning, but I'm here for the money. I want to make money, right? Nobody wants to work for free. Yeah, I love that Mary said an event is only going to work if you work it, you guys. It's so
Christy,
effective.
I
Yeah.
think people are wanting to know how they're going to get this information. Are we
Okay,
putting-
so I have a Canva link that I can send, that I can make it shareable. So if you want, you know, Sam, Beth, Jen, we're all in that chat. So if you want, I will share the Canva link in that chat, and you guys can pass it on to your teams. Like I said, though, like you guys can all have access to Believers. I know you don't want to pile all your people in there. Anyone can have access to Believers mock parties. So you guys are more than happy to load your people in there. That's just a party group. It's not any, there's nothing else that happens there but that. And you guys will want this first because you're going to want to change your name, change the chat names. There are a couple of graphics that go along with it. I could send to you too. That way you don't have to go fishing for them. But what I would suggest is maybe taking the stuff that I send to you and making it your own, because that might take, you know, spend 15 minutes, just make it your own. And then I would just suggest maybe making like, I don't know if you guys all have team pages, but just making like a guide in your team page with everything just in one place. So I can pass it on to you guys, and then you guys can just funnel it down if that works.
Good.
That sounds great. And then the other thing I was going to suggest is that we can actually add the links and things to our Trello boards too, because the Trello boards are only accessible to Crossline. I mean, everybody that has the links for all of our Crossline stuff and our Fully Activate You. So we can add on the Trello board, we can add all of this. We have an onboarding, and we can just add this as Christy's training, and all the links and everything that are there too. So we'll
we can load it all. Yeah.
And we'll load it all up in there too. So everybody can have access, and the links will be right there. So it's super easy.
Yeah. And let's see here. Meredith, you asked, am I still using Discover Good Living in the cottage? So I'll be honest, I haven't used the cottage in a very, very long time. I feel like it's sort of a dead zone. I don't know what they're going to end up doing with it. I do use Discover Good Living. I have all of my people are also in Discover Good Living. There's one good thing. And at first I was a little hesitant because I had all my people in Discover Good Living. And I steal a lot of stuff out of Discover Good Living, all the testimonies and things like that, to put them into my community. And here I was like so afraid that people were going to see the same thing in both places. But unfortunately, the Facebook algorithm is always against us. So just because one of my customers might see something in Life's Lemons, which is my community, doesn't necessarily mean, even if it was posted on the same day, that the stuff in Discover Good Living is also going to show up in their feed. So I stress to my team all the time, get your testimonies up in Discover Good Living. It is such a good resource, such a good resource. And for those of you who are interested in building out your own community, if that's something that you want to do, you are more than welcome to be a member inside of mine, just to see what I do. And, you know, a lot of us leaders create a ton of content and then we all share it. We just promised each other that it would never go public. So anything that we share, we make sure that we do it behind the scenes and we save each other a whole lot of time. So let's see here.
Can I add to that when you're
Sure.
talking about sharing content? That's really, you guys, what the Trello boards are there for too. All of that information, all of that content, anything that's on there is for you to use in your groups if you have them. I know my team has one that everybody can add their people to. You know, Christy has one. I mean, that's what it's there for. And also to take it and to put into those curiosity posts on Facebook and things like that. And so anyway, that's a lot of what the Trello boards are for too, when we're talking about sharing and helping each other out. That's where we're putting that.
And as far as the paper version of this, I think Brian's going to be able to build out this site pretty fast. Yeah. So now that I've done this, I just have to, like I said, I'm going to proofread before I send it to anybody. And I'm going to print it all out and we're going to set it down on a table, and he's probably going to have me do it some way completely differently than I picture it, but I'm sure it will be fabulous. So I don't think it's going to take long at all. He's been programming for a long time. So this is beginner stuff for him. So I think it's going to be great. And hopefully it will just be a few weeks.
That's so amazing. We're so grateful for him. I'm like typing in there. I'm like, please tell him thank you. Please tell him thank you.
Yeah. And you know what, honestly, I think the most, and Elaine could probably attest to this, but I feel like her and I have done so many events at this point with the Visily app. That's probably going to be the trickiest thing for you to catch on to, is connecting Visily to your party. But as long as you follow this 5 steps, and this is in the Believers Mock Party group, as long as you follow this, I even put the roadblocks that you will hit, the roadblocks that we have hit. So that's probably going to be your most challenging part of this whole thing. But once you do it once, after that, you just cruise through them. You just cruise through them. So, and I'm always here. You guys, my inbox is always open to anybody. And I've done it so many times now, I can pretty much do it with my eyes closed. So I think that's about it. I don't see any other questions. And like I said, I'll be back on next week. So we'll get this into everybody's hands and go from there. And you guys can just pop back on next week if you have any questions.
I do have a real quick question.
Sure.
Refresh my mind again. The Visily app, is that kind of like Zapier, where it zaps it over to, is it kind of the same concept where it puts it over into Facebook?
Yes. So I don't know of the app that you're talking about, but yes. So we built out a template in the Visily app. So the party is already there with a code. And basically what you do is you connect Visily to a Facebook group, and everything is scheduled in Visily. So you literally just tell Visily, I want my event to start on this day at this time. And your post will just start hitting your Facebook wall as long as the two things are connected. And that's all part of the checklist. So yeah, it's super simple. Like I said, the only downside is that you have to schedule out the videos manually because for some reason it doesn't transfer over the videos pretty. It just transfers over an ugly link. But as long as you follow that checklist in the Believers Mock Party, it literally tells you which ones are on Visly and which ones you need to schedule manually. It's so fast, so fast.
Awesome. Thank you. And
Yeah.
can you put a link to the Facebook in the chat so that we can link? Because I know I'm seeing a few other people because we're trying to find it on Facebook and we can't.
The Believers
probably
Mock
because
Party?
it's- Yes,
You know
probably
what?
because it's a private one.
Yeah, hold on. I can probably even just change the settings so that you guys can find it easier. Let's see here.
Thank you.
Christy, this is awesome, as I knew it would be. Y'all, she's worked
It's
on
so
this.
hard to talk about because there's so much.
I know, but you know what? You did great. And once everybody gets the paper, once everybody gets it and we can see it written out, it's going to make a big difference. And everybody's going to have questions. You know that. So everybody next week, come ready with your questions and make sure that you have all this printed out where you can look at it and you know, get your mind straight on what you want to ask her. So
Yeah, you know what? It says it's private. I'll mess with it when we get off and just make sure. But I can also pass it to the girls, to the leaders, and then we can just make sure that it gets distributed out to you guys, the Believers Mock Party group.
good.
And, you know, Facebook's doing something really funky right now. They actually removed guides from the app. I don't know why. And of course, I organized this all by like, go to guide 1 and then scroll down to post 5, you know? So
Did they replace it with something else?
they
Some different-
didn't, but it is, if you go on Facebook on a computer or through your browser, it's still there.
Right.
So that might, I mean, they might bring it back. It might just be an app thing. This literally just happened over the last couple days. So I don't know. It's always something, right?
Always something with Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be any different since I've been on Facebook. It's been that way. So,
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Tell Brian, we absolutely love him
I will.
and we love you. And we're so grateful for all the work you've done. And I can't wait to dive into this and get my teams, my different team pages, everybody rolling on it. So
Yeah. Cool.
we appreciate you and
Yes,
we'll see
no
you
problem.
again here this same time next week.